باني دستور يا سيدي مدد وعلى نيتكم يا سيدي يا سلطان الأولياء يا مولانا الشيخ ناظم الحقاني دستور يا سيدي مدد مدد يا رجال الله مدد يا ساداتنا الكرام. ربيع الأول manifestations, tajalliyat continue. May they continue all of our lives, and may every day of our lives be in and contain a reminder of the celebration and the gratitude for the blessing of the birth of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in our lives and the life of humanity. He is the prophet of prophets and the messenger of messenger. Upon him and them blessings and peace from pre-eternity to everlastingness. Ameen. One of the gestures of Maulana Shaykh Hisham when stirring the pot that would serve many, in addition to the basmala and salawat, would be to mention also in very short form, very condensed form, the simple two words, Mawlid al-Nabi, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to signify, as he would also, if someone gave a sadaqah as a cash gift, for example, he would accept it and then stir like this in the air to encircle and encompass the assembly and say Mawlid al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, al-Fatiha, like that, to seal and stamp with divine approval, inshallah, and prophetic rida, good pleasure, inshallah, the acceptance of this, and it's placing it firmly under the resolve and niyyah, intention of love and fidelity to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, followership and obedience and self-sacrifice to the extent that one can, like that, on behalf of all involved, all those who would benefit from that food and all those who benefit from that sadaqah also, that it is on their behalf, and with the firm hope and expectation that we shall find it again in the grave, the first of the stations of Akhirah, the Barzakh, and upon the resurrection when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and our masters will be taking us by the hand, just as they will escort us out of this life also, inshallah, by the hand. They have been with us all even before we were born. Indeed, that is the assurance that we have received from them, that this is not a coincidence, this connection, this friendship and suhbah with them, this socializing with them, that is rarer than the purest gold on earth, that we have not seen or experienced, and we shall not see or experience anywhere else but at their feet. So that any severance of that robs us of our own souls. We could not recognize ourselves anymore. And when this happens, it is a terrible event in the people, in someone's life, if such happens. They experience it, and we have seen it happen. So let them come back and re-enter, and it is easier. In reality, in the spiritual reality of things, in fact, that suhbah can never be cancelled. That bay'ah can never be given back or taken back. All Prophet ﷺ declared it to that group that asked for their bay'ah back and wanted to leave Medina, to the effect that you may leave Medina, but we do not give the bay'ah back. We do not give our bay'ah back. So once theirs, you are always theirs, and they will present you, inshallah, pure and clean to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he will present us, inshallah, pure and clean to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala entrusted all to him, and he entrusted all to them, yani Rasul to the awliya, and the khulafa, and the inheritors, each in their times, to keep custody and bring back all of those sheep to the exact number that they were given in the first place, not one of them being lost to the enemy. Muhammadun Sayyidul Kawnaini wa Thaqalain. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is the master of the two universes, Al-Kawnain, the two creations, wa Thaqalain, and the two human and jinn worlds. The two creations are dunya and akhirah. The beauty of dunya is nothing but Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the beauty of akhirah also. And the paradises were adorned for his visit on Mi'raj to show us that it is not they that embellish him, but rather he that embellishes them. There is nothing that we could do to repay the honor and the munificence of the gift of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to us, since we are part of humanity and part of creation. And he is the flower and the beauty of creation. He is the essence of creation, for whom creation was created in the first place. Were it not for him, nothing would have been created. He is therefore deserving of our thanks. And Mawlid al-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches us in the shortest shortcut the way to give thanks, to remember him, to make salawat on him, to instill, spread and renew and refresh love for him in ourselves and in younger generations through the feeding of food, which is the first command of the most basic human interaction, ordered and commanded by the Holy Prophet ﷺ in his pure sunnah. أطعموا الطعام, even before giving salam, even before greeting of salam, because more people recognize the blessing of food and the kindness and inherent goodness in that than recognize the salam. So that comes second to giving food. أطعموا الطعام وأفشوا السلام. The basic, this is one of the most fundamental functions of the Zawiyah or Dargah or Sufi center, is to feed the people and to welcome everyone that comes in, everyone. And this is how Maulana treated people always, no matter from what walk of life or in what garb of vestment or what behavior also or lack of adab. He would welcome all and he would bear and carry and tolerate and be patient and listen and then give from his heart to each, just as he gave to each one of us who stayed. And just as the first day that he spoke to us, so also 30 plus years later also he would speak to us. And this is how he addresses also those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends to his door, to his table, to his home, to his dargah. It is not an accident. It is as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed from the day of Alastu bi Rabbikum, qalu bala, am I not your Lord? They, meaning all of humanity without exception, said yes. And on top of that, shahidna, we do bear witness. Solemn, binding testimony that is the saving grace of everyone, because no matter how much they then or we might cover it up in the world of bodies and history with all sorts of cover up of the original fitra with which every single one of us was born. The fitra of submission to Allah, the fitra of recognition of His oneness, of His binding rights over us to love Him and worship Him, to know Him and to celebrate Him. No matter how much we cover that up, that is always there. He never takes it back, as He never takes back His gifts. So it is our duty to help people to find themselves, and which is that fitrah that is in each and every one of us. This is why, seeing the Holy Prophet ﷺ, the Sahaba themselves noticed that you cannot but help love him even before you hear the news that he is a prophet. They celebrated that in poetry. And they would say also, Allah has written in the hearts of His creation love for you, and He has named you most glorious, most praiseworthy, most celebrated, Muhammad. These are among the meanings of the name Muhammad. An emphatic form of hamida, to praise and glorify, to declare worthy of the highest honoring. That is to hamida, that the verb. And so the passive noun from that, so the person who is the object of that hamida becomes Muhammad, Muhammadan. But as the poets said also, just as there is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is no one truly worthy of hamd in all creation but Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is the one. He represents the apex and the model, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala named him all of these names, and the model to be followed, the uswa hasana, the most excellent model, and the one from your very best, anfasikum, and in the 10 qira'at, anfusikum, from yourselves, from your own species. He is the one. And he is the Abdullah par excellence. So no small wonder that the poets did their best with ihsan to celebrate that. That is our duty. That is not an option. That is not just something that is permitted. It is way beyond that. It is our belief. It is the proof of our belief that no one of you believes until I am dearer to him than his parents, his children, and all people. Nay, until I am dearer to him than his own life and soul. So they would say, may my life and soul be sacrificed for you, Ya Rasulullah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, He is their father, and his wives are as their mothers. Who questions the legality or legitimacy or goodness of celebrating one's father's birth? The one without whom the means of your own existence would not have been present. So in other words, you would be nothing, you would not have been created, except through that means. Allah decreed that you should come. Isn't that a way of thanking? So you celebrate, at least on that day, like how every day we are to celebrate our father and mother and be at their foot, at their beck and call, and at their service. And this is how Sayyidina Abu Yazid al-Bistami radiallahu anhu, is related to have reached the level that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened up for him of friendship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, birr al-walidain. Because he came home one night and and his mother was in bed and she asked him simply for a glass of water. He went and he got the glass of water, but she was sleeping already. He stood there until morning, holding the glass in case any moment she might wake up, any moment. There must no moment she just stood there. And then when she woke up in the morning, she saw him and she said, "How long have you been there?" He said, as you like, my mother. This is what you requested. So it doesn't matter how long I've been there. And she made dua for him at that time, and that dua was accepted. So love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, can we stand for him? Is that too much to ask to stand for him one night of 1 month of the year? Have we made our rizq? The reaction of hatred and the word of fighting word of calling bid'ah to the people who do that out of sincere love and longing for the one who said that you do not believe until you love me more than yourself. How can we express that except in such acts? And to put ihsan in them. And among the acts also that we make up from the bottom of our hearts is salawat on the Prophet ﷺ in different wordings. Not necessarily the wordings that were inherited from the Sunnah, but different wordings. And the Sahaba themselves made up many such wordings. Nay, Ibn Mas'ud said, وَأَحْسِنُوا إِذَا صَلَّيْتُمْ عَلَى نَبِيِّكُمْ أَحْسِنُوا, يعني do your very best, excel in finding new ways of making salawat on the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Mawlid is nothing but the embodiment of a salawat in action as well as in speech and in feeding, as Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded, أطعموا الطعام, and giving salam and inviting people to the celebration and the knowledge of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his blessed attributes, his seerah, his exclusive characteristics also, يعني شمائل and khasa'is, and his blessed words and his blessed deeds. So when we look at Mawlana Shaykh, we see an embodiment of that, not only in the enactment of what we mentioned, but also the embodiment of it. And part of that embodiment is to find ways to embellish the time and place of the celebration of Mawlid with small things, small gestures. And among those simple small gestures, the lights with which we embellish our homes, like the lights of Eids. This is the Eid of Eids, the Eid of Eids. And it celebrates our Prophet. As we heard in the khutbah of a couple of days ago, go back to that khutbah of Shaykh Dr. Noor, Shafahullah Ta'ala, where he said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala adorned the universes with the stars in the firmament, with such beauty, with a creation that defies count, defies description. So can't you just do, and he did this for his Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He did this for his messenger, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All this is for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So can't we do the same in our homes, so that perhaps we can achieve the same in our hearts also towards the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to adorn it with whatever lights we can do with our weak mortal hands, but then perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put undying lights, immortal lights, everlasting lights of goodness, blessing, opening, vision of the heart, and safety here and hereafter for us and for generations like the righteous ancestor in Surah Al-Kahf, the 7th generation ancestor, وَكَانَ أَبُوهُمَا صَالِحًا. Just for the sake of their ancestor who was a righteous one, the descendant after 7 generations benefit that. So don't you want to ask something like that? Or perhaps we do not need that protection, we do not need that blessing, and we do not need also that tazkiyah. We are already, no, we are not. We are not muzakka. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us thankful ones and grant us the gift of gratitude and to give thanks for gratitude too, to no end, and to have also rida and good pleasure at the qada and qadar of Allah, including the happiness of the servants of Allah in celebrating His holy Prophet, the seal of prophets, the best of creation, the nur and beauty of this life and the hereafter, the hope of our hearts, the immense blessing of our lives embodied in His inheritors and His descendants from His house, His holy prophetic house in our lives. Mawlana Shaykh, we are happy and thankful for that. He is and continues to be the one who teaches us, who is the key to that kind of knowledge, that kind of practice. And those words, we are thankful that He inspires our tongues to come back to that theme and that, as they call it, dandana. Yani we love to speak of that, and that is our, inshallah, our adab and our habit. And may those who love it, and those who do not accept it, they are free not to accept it. But we will not stop, we cannot stop it. It is in the heart of creatures, it is in their fitrah to love Allah and the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and to love that one from their own species. And to close, I will mention also the reading of two readings of two very familiar verses of Holy Quran, but how the awliya read them. The Shaykh al-Qurra of Sham, Sayyid Muhammad Taha Sukkar al-Husayni, rahimahullah, he would read آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه, and he would stop here. And then he would resume, وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ كُلٌّ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَمَلَائِكَتِهِ to the end. Because, say, the iman of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is, there must be ta'zim for that. And the way to make ta'zim is to single him out in that, and then there is the iman of everything else. Just like the ulama also pointed out that be careful when we say, إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَمَلَائِكَتَهُ يُصَلُّونَ, there is a yusalli that comes after Allah here, because Allah, inna Allah yusalli, wa malaikatahu yusallun. See, they are not put together in the same one group. No, that cannot be. That cannot be, because there is nothing that compares to Allah and His names and attributes and acts. So, and then the other verse is لَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ, and this wali would read it and say لَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ عَزِيز, and stop here. Most beloved, most mighty, Aziz, most strong, most august and royal and majestic. And then he would resume and continue, عَلَيْهِ مَا عَنِتُّمْ, He carries all that you endure, all that you might suffer, He carries it on your behalf. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open our understandings and open our hearts and allow us to drink with the thirst of our hearts, to quench our desire for that spiritual closeness to our Holy Prophet ﷺ and his representatives and his awliya in this dunya before we die and after we die, and in dunya and akhirah, with inshallah the light of love, the light of beauty, the light of mercy, in the light of divine tenderness that is present in all of those gifts of His Holy Prophet ﷺ and His awliya, for which we can never be thankful enough. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة.